Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori and this is Africa 54. First to Egypt, where supporters of ousted Islamist President Mohammed Morsi held more protests on Tuesday to commemorate those killed during early protests. Nearly 300 people have been killed in violent clashes in Egypt since the former leader was overthrown by the army. Meanwhile, European Union Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton today became the first outsider allowed access to the former president since he was toppled. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Catherine Ashton is on her second visit to Egypt this month to speak with interim President Adel Mansour and members of his government. Early on Tuesday, she met with ousted Islamist President Mohammed Morsi.
We talked for 2 hours. We talked in depth. He has access to information in terms of TV, newspapers, so we were able to talk about the situation. And we were able to talk about the need to move forward.
Ashton also met with members of the Muslim Brotherhood, Egypt's largest Islamist organization. A delegation member said the group supports a negotiated solution for Egypt.
We wait to hear from those who currently hold power to start the initiative by sending messages for a truce and reassurance, calling for an end to media campaigns which only allow for more bloodshed.
Ms. Ashton also held talks with a youth group opposed to the Muslim Brotherhood, the TURMOIL movement.
We asked her clearly to condemn all armed sit-ins and told her that it is impossible to be silent in the face of this armed protest because it is a threat and danger to the Egyptian streets.
Egypt's intelligence officials say that sit-ins incite people to violence and killings. On Saturday, security forces moved in to remove sit-in protesters from central Cairo, killing more than 80 supporters of President Morsi and wounding hundreds of others. Those killed were buried Sunday, with funerals sparking more violence. Pro-Morsi supporters say they will continue their sit-in Cairo's Nasser City district, but the Interior Ministry warns that the demonstrations will be dispersed very soon. Now, as Egypt continues or confronts its deep and violent political divisions, many difficult challenges lie ahead. Some Cairo analysts say the nation's long-entrenched institutions both hamper the struggle and offer hope that a competent government may be able to succeed. Here's VOA's Elizabeth Arrott.
The divisions plaguing Egypt often are portrayed as a struggle between those for and against ousted President Mohammed Morsi. But for those on Mr. Morsi's side, there appears to be a far more sinister player on the scene, moving against whatever progress Egypt has seen since the 2011 uprising.
As soon as the revolution of 25th of January started, there are a conspiracy against this revolution. There are a deep state, there are corruptions, there are counter-revolution started also.
Mohammed SOUDAN of the Muslim Brotherhood's political wing says this deep state aims to revive everything the protesters on Tahrir Square 2 years ago tried to sweep away.
Now the police state is coming back, the army state is coming back, the conspiracy for the former regime, Mubarak regime, is coming back very, very strong. They try to date back this era of dictatorship.
To him, the rebel campaign that nominally led a populist drive against Mr. Morsi was simply cover for the entrenched interests of the Egypt of former President Hosni Mubarak. The deep state, a concept rooted in the old Ottoman Empire, pits conservatives against those who would bring change. Even some opposed to both the Mubarak and the Morsi governments see a deep state triumphant. But like publisher HISHAM, they put the blame on Mr. Morsi himself.
He fell out with basically the judiciary, the media, the foreign office, the police force, the military, the Al-Azhar Mosque, and the church. And they resisted. You cannot subdue these pillars of the state.
The Brotherhood says it tried to end Egypt's long-time dynamic, pitting Islamists against deep state opponents. But SOUDAN says entrenched interests worked furiously to turn ordinary Egyptians against them, with problems that largely disappeared when Armed Forces Chief Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came on the scene.
They work together for escalate the anger of the Egyptian people with the fabricated crisis, lack of electricity, lack of water, lack of fuel, lack of diesel and gasoline, and then the people feel that they get anger. And starting from July 1st, all these fabricated crises, cut it. It looks like a magic stick in Sisi's arm.
But such complaints bring little sympathy from others who argue a competent government should be up to such challenges. For them, the concept of a deep state and entrenched institutions are not necessarily negative.
In Qatar, the foreign ministry is Sheikh Hamad's aeroplane. Okay? Here is an institution with diplomats, seasoned diplomats, with a heritage.
The downside was the repression, the heavy hand that the revolutionaries of 2011 wanted gone. The killing of Morsi supporters Saturday in Cairo was a stark reminder to many that the darker aspects of the deep state are still strong. Elizabeth Arrott, VOA News, Cairo.